Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Womble Leader here, and after a week off we are back doing a GT Sport Daily Race C strategy guide. We are going to Mount Panorama Motor Racing Circuit, better known as Bathurst, in Group 3 cars for 9 laps, with tyre wear at times 7, fuel at times 3, and it looks like we are limited to the racing hard tyre. So no tyre requirement for this one, by the looks of those settings anyway. So these seem to be settings that Polyphony Digital seem to have settled with for Group 3 cars in the dry anyway, with tyre wear at times 7, fuel at times 3 and the hard tyres available. In recent weeks we have had the same settings at Autopolis, Laguna Seca and Suzuka. And now in all three of those occasions, those races turned out to be non-stops. So with this race being under the same settings, you would think that would be the way to go with this one. And certainly when I seen the settings and started making some footage, that's what I was thinking as well. But maybe things are not as simple as we thought. As we'll see a little bit later on in the video. But we're setting off here on the first run with the non-stop. Car we're in the Ford Mustang with a rather snazzy Monster energy drink livery in a beautiful green colour, I'm sure you'll agree. Not a car that I've driven a great deal of, but I've always heard some pretty good things about it. It's a safe car to drive, is the way I would put it. Not too much drama with it. Plenty oomph down the straights, that's no two doubts about that. Quite handy for this circuit with its two very long straights, but I did find it a little bit stiff on the front end, and so on the twistier sections it does tend to struggle just a little bit. But overall, pretty nice car to drive, and given it's down this long straight, I certainly can see being able to get some overtaking done on it. Maybe a car to give a try. Okay, so we're coming to the end of the opening lap here on the non-stop run. We've had the fuel counter present as we've done that. You can see after a lap's completed we've still got 10 laps worth of fuel, but less than 10% so far. So fuel, no issue in this one. I think the Mustang is quite a thirsty car as well, so I can't see any Group 3 car having any issues whatsoever fuel wise on this one. I wasn't entirely sure how to drive this one properly, so I was whether you had to short shift it like you do with some of the American muscle cars, but I was just revving it out to the max. Anyway, so we are halfway through the second lap, or into the second lap, and we're going to jump forward a little bit to lap 4. Now the sort of tactic for this one, because it's a non-stop, I've done a lot of laps around Mount Panorama doing footage for this. I've had a few issues in terms of consistency, and pit stop times have been kind of doing my head in, let's say. So I knew that I wanted to try and save the tyres a little bit over the opening stint. So those laps I've done 205s flats. Now I could easily have done mid 204s on those laps, so I wanted to just sort of not take too much life out of them in the opening laps, and then sort of see if we could sort of benefit a little bit later on into the race. So on to lap 4, we're actually going to start pushing a little bit harder now. So we are a 10th up coming into the second split, and it was through the mountain where I was really taking it easy, not stressing the car too much. Obviously twisty bit, so we're more likely to take life out of the tyres there if you push too hard. So we get a good exit out of the Forest Elbow, I believe that corner's called, onto a long straight. Quite an important corner to get right, because you take that speed all the way down this straight. You can see we're half a second up on our best lap, so definitely starting to push a little bit late, a little bit more. So we're just going to jump all the way forward to lap 9 on this non-stop run. You can see, I think we have reaped the benefit of looking after the tyres over the opening laps. We've kept it in the 204s in the midsection of the race from lap 4 through to lap 7. But even with some tyre saving, come lap 8 and lap 9 we're starting to suffer on the tyres a little bit. In terms of lap time anyway, the car still feels absolutely fine to drive. You can see from the tyre indicator that there's not too much red showing there. But it is enough to start affecting the lap times. I'm always thinking with the hard tyres, once you get to about 15-20% wear on them, you start to lose the maximum grip. And your lap times will start to degrade a little bit. So into the last corner we come. It's been a pretty tidy run on the non-stop here. And can we sort of break the 18 minutes 50 barrier? Unfortunately not. It's a 2:05.5 to finish, and that finishing time 18:50.5. So keep that one in mind as we move on to the next run. Now, as I said, I thought it was pretty much a shoe-in to be a non-stopper for this one, because earlier in the week we had done a FIA manufacturer's guide in Group 4 at the same track. The pit loss on that occasion was around about 7 seconds. I think it was a little bit less if you can nail the pit lane. It was around about 7 seconds, and I was thinking, well, a 7-second pit loss, if you put on lap 4 or 5, that's going to be quite difficult to make up over 4 or 5 laps when the tyre wear is so low. However, as I said, I've done quite a lot of laps around here, and I was quite surprised to discover the pit loss is a lot shorter in Group 3 in comparison to Group 4. So as we are about to jump forward to lap 5, when I decided to do the pit stop, we shall get a little bit of a look at that pit loss. So we jump forward to lap 5, you can see the lap times on laps 2 and 3, they are a lot quicker than we were doing on the non-stop. Well, I say a lot quicker, about half a second, because obviously no tyre saving concerns with this one. So into the pit lane that we come. We'll talk about the pit lane a little bit later in the video. New set of hard tyres, no fuel required, and that car is in the box a lot quicker than the Group 4. And out we come, pit loss. If you can nail the pit lane, the pit loss is only about 3.1 seconds. I think in normal circumstances probably closer to 3.5. So all of a sudden the one stopper is looking like a viable strategy, because a fresh set of tyres, I could see you making up 3.5 seconds with the fresh tyres over the 4 laps. It's not going to be easy, but definitely possible. So we're just going to jump all the way forward to lap 9 here. You can see we've not really nailed the laps on when we put the fresh tyres on. We come out the Forest Elbow there. Bit of a mess, certainly lost a tenth or so there, and we're probably going to lose another tenth down this straight just because of that. The optimal lap time suggesting we should be able to dip into the 203s, but we've not came close to that on our flying laps on the new tyres. And I think I don't know if it's a case of the rhythm getting broken, or more likely try to push too hard to try and make up that deficit. But we're on a better lap here to finish. Into the last corner. Do that pretty nicely. We're going to come over the finish line for, I think we say our fastest lap on the last lap. We do a 2:04.3, but still not close to that. Dipping into the 2:03s, but the finishing time pops up, it's at 18:49.8. So actually a little bit faster than the non-stop, but we shall discuss that just in a moment. But before we get there, just a couple of things to talk about with regards to the pit lane. If you decide you're going to make a pit stop, don't be this guy. that mistake is incredibly easy to make, so caution required entering the pit lane. And one other thing I wanted to check out with the pit loss being so short, could you actually, if you're right behind somebody, just skip through the pit lane, don't change tyres, don't take on fuel, and make an overtake? I did think you would be able to, and I really hoped you would be able to. So yeah, even though you're not doing any, taking any fuel or tyres, the car's still stationary for 2.5 seconds. So I was quite glad to see that that wasn't an option. Okay, that's our testing runs complete. Now, one thing I do want to discuss here was the pit stop loss in the one-stop run. For some reason, Gran Turismo, the sort of pit loss time can alter very slightly depending how many cars you've got on the track or what class of cars you're racing against. So I knew that the pit loss for running Group 3 with full grid should have been 14.8 seconds pit loss and a 4.1 second stationary. Now on our run there, the pit loss came in at 14.1 seconds rather than 14.8. So I would add 7/10 of a second onto the one-stop run, and that actually brings its finishing time up to 18 minutes 50.5, which is identical to the non-stop run. So in conclusion, there is always time to be found on any run. You can always, I certainly could pick out where I've lost a tenth here, a tenth there, or 2/10 here on both the non-stop and the one-stop run. But it looks like both strategies are very, very, very similar. Absolutely, both are viable to do. They're going to have their own pros and cons. Obviously, the non-stop gives you track position, but you have worn tyres, so you can possibly get hunted down by a one-stopper and have to deal with that pressure. The one-stop's advantage is you have fresh tyres, but you could well lose track position to a couple of cars, even though that pit loss is very short, so you're really going to lose probably track position to one or two cars by the time the race is stretched out. But yeah, that's my thoughts for this one. Both strategies absolutely viable. It's a race I'm going to do quite a lot of. I need to pick up my pace at Bathurst. Never been a strong track for me, particularly over the mountain. So I'm going to wrap it up there. If you like what I'm doing on these videos, hit that subscribe button, give the video a like, very, very much appreciated. All I'd like to do is wish you good luck on your races. I hope I see you at some point. Give me a shout out in the chat if you do, and I shall see you on the next video. Goodbye now.